My name's Tikal. I'm a senior at Depaul. We both work at the Idea Realization Lab in Chicago, Illinois. We are doing a maker interview series. So we're interviewing makers all across the world, which is really exciting because you're our first maker outside of the US, which is really cool.
Excellent.
And we are just interviewing them about their creative process. What inspires them? Where did they get inspiration from? How do they come to make the businesses that they're currently working on right now? And it just is a featured spotlight about you specifically as a creative.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm also going to be a senior this year. I'm currently on the East Coast, but we're all working online, so this is a new exciting thing. Thanks for coming to interview with us.
No problem.
If you just want to introduce yourself, who are you? What's your business? What do you specialize in? Anything you just want to talk about as a preliminary introduction.
My name's Roma. I'm in England, in the Midlands. I own the business Unique Sonder, which was created about 8 months ago. I specialise in creating polymer clay earrings, but also dabble in a bit of resin, epoxy resin, and also do a few macrame wall hangings and plant hangers as well.
What is one word you would use to describe your creative process?
How I'd say my creative process is organic, to be honest. I don't work myself very well with following like regimented formats. I kind of just go with the flow. If I see something that inspires me, whether it be online or kind of, in everyday life, it could be patterns, it could be shapes, that sort of thing. I take pictures and then sometimes I'll make drawings and designs from it, and sometimes I'll just kind of freeform and see what happens. Sometimes it works out how I'd imagined it, sometimes it doesn't, but that's just a process that just kind of suits me personally.
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering also what got you into making, like if you had some early memories or what you started with as a kid, that kind of thing.
I think I've always been quite a creative person. I think when I was in secondary school, I really thoroughly enjoyed art. I used to do portraiture, but I did get quite frustrated with myself because I'm not very good at realism. So I was got annoyed that my pictures were never quite realistic enough. The proportions were always kind of a little bit skew with, so I kind of dropped that. I also went on to study medical microbiology at university. I don't know, like when I was growing up, it was kind of the done thing that you had to study something like classically academic rather than creative, because it was just kind of, I don't know, it was just the done thing. Like you were kind of encouraged and told like creative pursuits weren't going to get you anywhere. Um, so I kind of put my creativity to like on the back burner, and carried on. And then years and years later, after I kind of realised that wasn't in a really good place, I was working as management in hospitality. I started delving back into things that actually gave me like joy to do, and I realised that I needed to take kind of like a leap into the unknown. And so, like I said, 8 months ago, I just quit my job and have just seen what's happened. So that's where I am now. It was scary, but it was just something that needed to happen. And honestly, I'm extremely happy now, happy as I've been for years. So
That's really good to hear. So, kind of like a follow-up question to that, and you kind of touched on it a little bit about it being scary, but how was it like to kind of jump back into your creative passion after putting it in the back burner for so long, but knowing that this is something that brought you a lot of joy and you're in a very happy place right now?
yeah, it was tough. I was fortunate enough to have enough, savings and things to like end of the day, it's going to take a lot of money to before you can start making money off it. I'm still in early days, but it's going well. But it was pretty scary, but I've had loads of support from family and friends, so that's been great. I'm also lucky enough to have the space in my house to create a studio in my house as well, so that's been great. But also something I I have found a lot of help has been Instagram. The creative community on Instagram are absolutely fantastic. They are so willing to share information and help anybody out, and it's something I never realized existed until I started this, and it's been a wonderful process getting to know people as well.
Yeah, that's nice. We actually, in another interview, somebody mentioned the online art community being surprisingly a lot more open and willing to teach you about the things they're selling as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, honestly. But I've obviously I was going to start doing my first few markets, like makers markets this summer. But obviously because of the pandemic that hasn't happened, everything's been postponed or cancelled. But the community in the UK have managed to kind of pull it together and created like online Instagram markets where you kind of just follow the hashtag and everyone that's partaking in the market is posting with the hashtag. So it just kind of appears on your feed and you kind of set up like a market in your house. It's almost like playing shop. But it's been absolutely amazing how creative everyone's been around it and how supportive everyone's been of each other. It's, yeah, absolutely astounding, to be honest, and absolutely fantastic environment to be in.
It's really interesting to hear how creatives are just connecting on Instagram. So kind of related to that, how have you seen social media impact your business? And not only your business, but your connections to people even outside of where you live?
Um, it's been pretty immense. I was never a Instagram user until I started this business. I think I was a kind of like a generation out of skip, to be honest. Like I was the Facebook generation rather than the Instagram one. But I thought I should, set it up and try and figure it out. And it's been a long process, me trying to get my head around it. But it's definitely been worth it. I think I've got a following now of about 1,600, which isn't too shabby. But it's absolutely fantastic. There's a polymer clay community that is it's a large community. A lot of them are actually based in Australia, Melbourne and Sydney. But there's a collective called Fry Clay that do a weekly challenge. So they set a challenge out to all the polymer clay jewelry makers every week, and everyone interprets the challenge in their own way. And it's a really nice way of kind of pushing your own boundaries, like beyond something you usually do.
It's nice to hear that you're connecting with a lot of people. Social media has really become like this bridge for people all throughout the world to just get to know each other, share their processes, the things that they're making.
Our other question was, are you working on anything new right now?
I am dabbling in some things at the minute. I've bought a lot of wax coated cords for necklaces. 'Cause that's something I've had quite a few requests for. Um, but it's it's just a bit of a different ball game. You have to figure out how they hang on your neck. It's not quite the same kind of ball game as earrings. So it's proving a little bit harder than I thought it would be. So it's just a bit of trial and error at the minute. But also in 2 weeks, I have my first pop-up shop. So I'm really excited for that, and I'm making a lot of new products. But yeah, other than that, no, just plodding along and waiting for all the rest of my markets to kind of come back into action.
So, just for a little bit of a background on how you were learning to make specific things. I know you talked about being creative as you were younger, but how did you kind of learn to make the things that are in your like Etsy shop or your business? So you mentioned you make polymer clear earrings. So how did you learn to do that, and how did you put your own creative spin on that so it was uniquely you?
Um, Honestly, I can't quite remember how I came across polymer clay. I think it was when I was towards the end of my time in hospitality. I've always liked earrings. I never leave the house without a big pair of like statement earrings on. Like I just feel like I'm kind of naked if I haven't got them on. And that comes from my mum. She's always been the same. Um, so I guess I must have just been browsing, possibly Etsy, and came up with this. It came up with possibly something like polymer clay, and I had no idea what that medium was. And then you start googling, and then you start looking on YouTube at tutorials, and I just kind of thought, maybe this is something I would like to give a try. And I did. I think I first started playing with polymer clay in October last year. Uh, but then, like, obviously to start with, I'd kind of bought really cheap polymer clay because I was just like, just want to give it a go. And then you realise that the cheap stuff doesn't really work or create the quality you want. Because then I started watching more YouTube videos, and then I started looking on Instagram and started following like the people that are already well established and their tutorials, and it kind of just spiraled from there.
Nice. Also, you sort of touched on this when you're talking about your followers online, but how have you seen your business grow?
Well, like I said earlier, I think one of the major turning points for me was being featured on this blog on the madmommy.net, I think it is. It was originally just a post of 200 black owned Etsy shops, and then it soon spiraled to over 1,000, and I had this massive influx. Like, I'd wake up in the morning and I had 20 sales on Etsy. Like, my shop just depleted in a matter of days, and it was absolutely fantastic and absolutely, like, you know, awe-inspiring and encouraging. But yeah, that was an absolute turning point for me, and that was great. But also, you know, like, it took quite a long time from when I first set up my Etsy shop, and obviously, you know, friends and family buy from you to start with, but then when you first get a person that is a stranger buying from you, it is the most wonderful thing in the world. Like, and yeah, just every time that happens, it's fantastic. You have to learn, obviously, how to manipulate the algorithms on Etsy and things like that, but once you get the hang of it, it's great.
I know, like, the thrill of being able to see your creations kind of go to someone that's outside of your inner circle is really exciting because things are just building up for you. And I know you said this is something that you really enjoyed, and you're seeing all the good stuff that you put into it kind of come back to you, which is
Yeah.
exciting. So, related to that, are there things that you're working on currently or things that you're looking forward to for your business or just like your creative practice in general? It doesn't have to be any like one thing specific, but just things that you're looking forward to now that you have, you know, a lot of encouragement and positivity, more positivity with what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, something that I'm looking forward to doing is being able to make my own website, move away from Etsy and have my own kind of platform myself, something that's a bit more personal and involved, possibly mailing lists so I can send out to people. Um, yeah, just having, I think, maybe a bit of a more personal connection with my customers and my followers and people that are interested. I try hard to kind of maintain a personal relationship with people on my Instagram, like replying to messages, of course, and things like that, and putting up polls and asking questions, asking for feedback. But I would like to make it a bit more personal, also a bit more professional at the same time. So that's where I'm hoping to go. And hopefully, I am hoping to be able to find a stockist at some point, a shop, an independent shop to stock my products would be absolutely fantastic as well.
It's really nice to hear all the things that you are looking forward to for your business. I'm sure they will all come true. It'll all be great.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
Yes, and all those advancements and things will definitely give you more control over everything as well, because I know Etsy keeps you a little bit separated. So that would
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Like, Etsy is fantastic, but there are obviously limitations and things. So fingers crossed.
yeah, so we do have a few last questions. We just
Sure.
also just interested in what you enjoy doing outside of work.
Oh, okay. Primarily, I am a crazy plant lady. I'm very into gardening. I don't think you can actually see many in my house at the minute. I think I have over 100 house plants at the minute. So I spend significant portions of my day watering and caring for plants and my garden outside as well. Uh, and reading. And that's basically me in a nutshell. You know, just creating, reading, and caring for growing plants and a couple of cats as well.
How do you kind of balance your, your personal life with your creative life? Do they ever connect?
um I've not really had any collisions. Obviously, the majority of my of Unique Sonder's progression has actually been during lockdown, so it's obviously going. It's been different to how I think it will be in the future. I only really got started in January, and obviously by March it was, lockdown. Um, so I'm not sure how I'm going to balance it in the future, but for now it's been pretty easy because I just don't unfortunately see anybody. Um, but I think I'm going to have to give myself some strict regulations once lockdown's over because I'm quite a flighty person and I need rules and regulations to keep me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, that's definitely a struggle keeping things in balance, and I'm sure it's going to feel like a completely different world once lockdown is
Yeah,
over. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
was there anything that you wanted to plug, or where you want people to find you? Or
um, other than my Etsy, it's just my Instagram, which is the same name, Unique Sonder. I update it every day and have my story kind of constantly going so you can see what I'm doing. It's kind of a mixture of my creative process. So I'll start with, well, like I've started today underwater slab. So I'm going to cut earrings out of it. And I've started today with just kind of blank piece of clay. And I'm taking pictures as I kind of build up. So you can kind of just watch my process and then see the final product, which I think hopefully people will find quite nice. So yeah, that's all. Just my Etsy, my Instagram.
Anything else you want to mention? Since we're kind of getting to the end of our interview, doesn't have to be about this. It could just be anything in general if you wanted to mention anything.
All I would mention is the post that I think maybe you probably found me off, which is on the Mad Mommy. It's black-owned businesses. I am an avid supporter of Black Lives Matter, obviously being black myself, and I really feel at this point in time it is crucial to raise the voices of the black community, see what people have on offer, and just Google it, black owned businesses, search the hashtag black owned businesses on Instagram, see what people have to offer, see what's out there. That's all I'd say. Well, I will say as well, if anyone does want to just message me any questions, I'm always happy to answer anything at any time just to support another creative. Like, absolutely. So
And that wraps up our interview right about now.
fantastic.